Welcome to sunny Florida. For decades, the scent of the orange groves and the warm spring weather has drawn together spring break partygoers and the world's coolest sports cars for the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring.
JJ Leto, some of your F1 buddies are back this weekend. Did that give you extra added incentive?
Yeah, for sure. It's nice. You know, I didn't think about it before, but it's like a Formula 1 grid. You know, it's first three are Formula 1 drivers or ex-Formula 1 drivers. So it's nice to start the race, and at least you know that there's some good guys, you know, around you. So I think that we will have a lot of good fun.
Well, JJ and McNish on the front row going side by side into turn one. It doesn't get any better than that. But in P2, big surprise. Buckingham Racing outpacing some of the new and fancied runners. But in post-technical inspection, they failed that engine test. They've been moved to the back of the pack.
Well, Calvin, in GTS, all the competitors have their sights set squarely on these guys, the Corvettes. The Corvettes have won this race 2 years in a row. Ron Fellows, Johnny O'Connell, they're going to try to make it 3 in a row for Corvette. And the Vets certainly look strong here. They've qualified first and second, but the number 4 car has been sent to the back for the start of this race. We'll talk more about that later.
Well, if you think prototypes and GTS are exciting, the battle between Porsche and Ferrari is starting off exactly where it left last year. This is going to be a battle. It's going to be a nail-biter. Ferrari has really stepped up their program, 404. It's a factory-assisted program. It's a new 360, and Porsche has responded. They've brought 8 factory drivers to Sebring, and they are looking to ensure victory.
Hi, I'm JJ Leto, driving for car number 38, ADT champion Audi with Marco Werner and Emanuele Pirro.
Marino Franchitti, Edinburgh, Scotland, driving with Derek Hill and Andy Lally in the number 8 Rand Racing Lola.
Hi, I'm Johnny O'Connell, driving with Ron Fellows, Max Pappas, all of us in the number 3 CompuWare Chevrolet Corvette.
Hello, I'm Timo Bernhard. I'm driving the number 23 McKenna Mel2 Webb Alex Joe Porsche GT3 RSR together with Jörg Bergmeister and Sascha Maassen.
This is the 52nd running of the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, and Leto pounces to the front immediately. We're underway here at Sebring. James Weaver in the 16 Dyson Lola looks on the inside, and he splits the 2 Audi UK cars.
Wow, James Weaver is in that lighter, nimble car. He does have the horsepower. It's a little 4-cylinder, turbocharged engine, though, against the might of these Audi R8s that we have seen so dominant in this endurance racing in years past.
I drove with James so long with this team. He is a bulldog at the start. He likes to get the job done right now.
It's champion Audi leading the first of 2 Audi UK cars for Team Velox. Then it's the Dyson car. And here are cars that were stuck in the pits, and that is Danny Sullivan in the Ferrari 575. And he gets released with the J3 Racing Porsche. That's their second entry, the 78. We ride with the McKenna Porsche for Alex Job Racing. The team to beat in GT this year, but boy, the list is long of those who want to line up and take a shot. Timo Bernhard leads the class at the moment, currently runs 17th. It's an interesting setup with these guys because Timo Bernhard and Jörg Bergmeister very much had to play the bridesmaid position to Sascha Maassen and Lucas Luhr over the past year, particularly last year. But now they step up. Maassen and Luhr are focusing on activities in Europe this year, so it's really Timo and Jörg's turn to be in the limelight. But they're going to be chased and pushed hard by this young guy, a young American, the Californian Patrick Long. Whoa, there's a bit of scrapping going on behind. But Patrick steps into a full-time role with the Racers Group. We've already lost car 19. That's tough. That's one of our P2 cars who's been in contact with the Car Sport America Viper down there in turn 17. Here is car 3, the GTS class-leading car. And look at how quickly the 4 has carved through the field. Terrific job by Oliver Gavin, who set the qualifying time. He did put it on pole in the GTS qualifying session, then got sent to the back for a technical infraction. But talk about a star-studded lineup. Oliver Gavin, Olivier Beretta, 2 times GTS champion. And then, of course, teaming up with those guys, the incredibly quick Jan Magnussen. Oliver Gavin in the Corvette has got by Ron Fellows.
But now remember, he's running a nice, comfortable pace.
Right here riding on board, we're going through the snaky part in the back. Just drives around the outside like there's nothing going on.
In GT, and we ride with the 66, the New Century Mortgage car for the Racers Group, Patrick Long. And he has just he had overtaken the 23, so he went into the lead momentarily. But the Flying Lizard car with Johannes van Overbeek just went by, so Johannes leads the way. This is a new formation of a team they've built on. There is a group of guys, young guys from California, very dynamic. and they have put together a solid team. There's 2 cars in the Flying Lizard operation, and they will be strong. And we have a new race leader in the Mobil 1, 12 Hours of Sebring, Alan McNish. Here's the lead pass.
Down in turn 17, coming on the pit straightaway, tucks inside and easily. Well, that he actually uses a lap car right there as a pick. Watch here.
No, look, JJ got himself in trouble. See the oversteer? There's a big bump right in the middle here. There you go, look. JJ's gathering the car up, having gone over the bump, oversteers to the outside, leaves an open lane on the inside, and McNish said, thank you very much, here I go.
37 is back in the pits a second time, so obviously they're not happy with something there.
Penalty, we hear. Penalty to the 37 Banana Joe's Intersport car, so Duncan Dayton will serve that penalty. Pit lane speed violation, which is quite common. He enters the penalty box and then gets released. That is Danny Sullivan's car, but Danny has stepped from the car. This is John Bosch involved as the sand and dirt continues to pour from underneath that car.
Yeah, you talk about the pace of McNish. What about the pace of Gavin? 16 out of the first 25 laps under the lap record for GTS.
The Compuware Chevrolet Corvette has performed extremely well up to now, and unfortunately during the pit stop the car came down on one of the air hoses, which means that we needed to come in for a stop and go penalty. So Olivier's now in the car, he's just come in for a stop and go, so we've now dropped back behind the 3 car, unfortunately.
Look at this, interesting times after that first round of pit stops. You've got the 2 former teammates out on track, Frank Bieler, Marco Werner. It's the Audi UK team and the champion team going hard at it. Here we go, the battle for the lead. Marco Werner, Frank Bieler, the teammates at it, and they go through. The former teammates fighting it out, and the champion Audi is back in the lead. Here's Butch Leitzinger, and Cal is there.
Rob will attest to this. They've done about 1,500 miles of testing here at Sebring alone. They've beefed up the car, the underbody, and that starternator issue they had last year, they've revamped that and split the 2. But they're going to the left corner there, pointing us to some suspension pieces down here. Well, the good news down here, Brian, is that the deck lid is going back on. I just checked in with the engineer, Peter West, and he said they believe it was the fuel overflow line. It's split.
Down back at Racers Group, we talked about taking your time and doing a nice pit stop. This is not the amount of time you want to take. It looks like the car is stuck in gear when they did the driver change.
Problems here at Sebring for Phil Andrews in the Taurus Sport Lola Judd, the Sitco-sponsored car. This has got ex-Formula 1 racer Justin Wilson.
The thing just cut down all at once on him. Off the road he goes. You saw the smoke.
Well, there was a report that the 16 was actually on fire as he is circulating the racetrack. We talked about that fuel vent hose having some kind of split in it. They believe they fixed it. Maybe there's just some residue fuel. The team are really just mopping things up back here, trying to clean up.
But a scary moment a few moments ago for this guy, Jan Magnussen, in the number 4 Corvette, running second in class. Take a look at this.
Going back to the tight corner on the straightaway, we take a look at this car right here, go up the inside, doesn't leave any room. Contact at the apex and shoves the Corvette all the way off the racetrack.
This is a 20-second penalty for the number 22 Prototype 1 car, Rob Barr, for the incident we saw earlier when he made contact that was deemed avoidable.
Oh, and the Corvette's around right in front. That was good enough driving by those guys. We're on board almost.
That is Magnussen again, so he's in the wars. He was hit earlier, you saw it. We don't know what happened here yet. That is down at the redesigned hairpin. The hairpin in the old days went about 50 yards further on to a first gear right-hander, but Magnussen gets in trouble yet again. So the number 4 Chevrolet Corvette, the one that we've seen, goes so fast early in the race. Also, we've seen him in all sorts of trouble. Yeah, he's done. Dorsey, I think that's done for the day.
Yeah, it's a shame.
We have had a full course yellow. The pits were closed initially. They are now open. There's been a flurry of pit stops. So we are back underway, our first full course yellow. And just look at the champion, number 38 Audi. Marco Werner behind the wheel absolutely ran like a scalded cat. Last year, he had similar tendencies. So champion, I've never won this event here in this car.
Oh, it looked like he got a bit wide.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, understeer.
He came a little bit too heavy. Of course, with this, remember, the brakes hadn't been used for a few laps, so as he got going there, it's the first time he'd really braked hard, and they probably weren't as efficient as they should have been. Of course, he didn't slow down. But he did. Oh, he's done it again, look. You see that those brakes are always going to damage that front splitter if he's not careful. Take it really easy.
Where's Bieler?
Well, nobody's in sight. Where are they? He's had such a lead. He should have got the message at the hairpin that there was a little bit of a problem slowing it down.
Huge mistake. Huge mistake. That could be so costly.
But she might have a problem. But
now Beeler right behind him. Sticks his nose to the outside.
What you got?
Not Beeler, sorry, Jamie Davies.
What you got to remember is that he's got. Oh no. It looked like he had the same problem. I think what you've got to realise is, of course, is there's a lot of sand got inside that Audi bodywork and then showers itself out on the tyres of the next corner. But it does look like he has a problem. Having just said how this team have never won the Sebring 12 hours, it's a long way to go. But you know, I would say he has a problem with his brakes, and he's trying to overcome it and trying to fathom out just how far he can go in the corners on the brakes.
And you know that Beeler must have had a similar problem, because he was second. Now he is behind these two cars, because it was Jamie Davies that has now gone into the lead. But here is a great battle for the GT class. This is both Alex Job McKenna cars. The number 24 car, driven by Romain Dumas, has just made a pass. He has taken the lead now in the GT class from his teammate.
For Sasha to be overtaken, it's quite something. He may well have been held up coming through the final turn there, loses a bit of momentum coming out, and of course Dumas slips by.
We are under our second full course yellow of the day. This was a, did he just lose it himself?
I think he was trying to hold it in tight, and of course there was a load. There's not too much damage to the front, but look, here he goes.
And Jim Matthews was behind the wheel. Now this is a live shot, and this is the reason we've gone full course yellow. This is Chris Dyson. We heard his dad, Rob Dyson, on the radio saying, "Where are you?" Chris said, "I think we're done. We don't exactly know what it is, but it is a serious mechanical problem." This is a very, very important and key part of the race, Derek, because we had contact with the second-placed Audi, and it was going into turn one. This is 175 miles an hour approach.
That's right. He was sort of the car on the outside and was giving him room, but then pulled in. It was rather a silly move. 79 gave him, Brian Cunningham gave him the room, and then came back and pinched him.
It's hard to see, but that bodywork is literally rolled back down the side like a tuna can. The problem is there is a radiator right there where that bodywork is broken. Pushed him back out of his space. They're seeing what they can do, but a huge setback for this champion team.
And again, it is Frank Pierre Caffer who has just jumped into this car, took over from Frank Vila, and he has exactly the same problem that Marco Verna just described to us. So Derek, it's obvious cold front tires or cold front brakes is giving these Audis on these outlaps a lot of problems. Let's slip back to our prototype 2-liter. And this, I suppose you could say, is the rags to riches story, because they came from last. They were the fastest qualifiers. The airbox on the engine did not quite seal as it should have, so they were technically disqualified, put to the back of the field. So Jeff Buckman, who started in this car, went all the way to the back. They have come through now to lead this event. This is a pill beam chassis.
Whoa, we have lost one of the Ferrari 575s. Coming through turn 16, but no damage done. And he's still struggling. In fact, I think he might even be slipping a little on his own sand.
He is. It's pouring out of those side trays. Look at it, still pouring out. Now, this is all he's having a pretty bad time, but think about the other guys who haven't got a clue. And there we have
the
Panoz off the road. He's right at the back of this group, loses it coming in. He just locks it up on the back, and round he goes.
Back here at Sebring, and problems for the second Flying Lizard Motorsports Porsche. Lonnie Pechnik in the 44 has come to a stop, and we are under our third full course caution of the day. And something interesting has just happened at the top end of the field involving this guy here, Pierre Caffer. He passed the 88 in pit lane, got out ahead of Guy Smith. They've picked up Guy Smith. They finally allowed Caffer through. That's where you saw that onboard shot with Caffer. He's frantically making his way around, but Derek Bell doesn't that mean by waving him by, he effectively gets a lap on the field?
He does, but I don't see how they can do it, how they can bring him back, because he's gone, hasn't he?
We have received word that they're sorting this situation out, and the situation involves the 88 and the 28, and you see these cars at full speed now. The word is, Derek Bell, they are now letting the full field go through so they can all realign it again. Back to green, finally, the end of our third full course caution. Pierre Caffer leads the field into turn one. Now here comes Guy Smith, cutting his way through the pack.
He's just got to be so careful, because we know those front tires, already the tires aren't that warm. As much as he's tried to warm them up.
Running third right now in P1 is the 22 car. In that last caution, they threw João Barbosa back in that car. They had some problems in the early goings when they got together with the number 4 Corvette. They did do some damage to the dive planes on the front of the car, but right now they're very excited about where they're running, behind the Audis.
And to talk more about that 22 car as we see the 37, here we are. This is João Barbosa, the Portuguese driver. They tested this car, and we should highlight the fact that it's its first outing as far as in the hands of the Rollcentre racing team. Barbosa, Martin Short and Rob Bath, they tested the car at Estoril several Mondays ago. They did 1,000 miles over 3 days. They were very pleased with the car. Absolutely nothing went wrong in the test. And Martin Short said, if we can just make it to the finish of this race, that will be a massive achievement for us. I'll tell you what, you're sitting on the podium at the moment. And problems here for the BAM team. Look at that. Windshield's been smashed.
Yeah, Lee, that windshield was smashed in the last caution period. Mike Rockenfeller, who was a lap down and got this car back on the lead lap, actually had some contact with another car on the racetrack.
Well, Pierre Caffer brought the car in, and engineer Graham Taylor really asked him to slow down. A couple of days ago, Pierre actually ran over him in pit lane. He's been limping around for the rest of the weekend, so he's a little nervous when Pierre brings the car in. Should be routine, no tyres, fueling is done. But now they're going to the rear bodywork. They must have some kind of problem. The rear tail is going to come off the car. Just to clear up that bodywork situation, when Caffer got hit out on the racetrack, actually bounced the bodywork up a little bit. They were unsure if it was damaged, so it was just precautionary. All they needed to do was bump it back into position.
Courtesy that last round of pit stops, Guy Smith got himself and his machine back out in front of Pierre Caffer. But look at the young German on the right-hand side of your screen, pushing hard, pushing the reigning Le Mans 24-hour champion to the limit. Now look at this. Caffer gets an opportunity to set him up.
Yeah, he got blocked right there. The Porsche didn't see him coming. He's going to have the momentum. Watch this going down the brake zone. I'm sure he's got the speed here.
You ride with Pierre Caffer. His first drive in a sports car and a prototype. He sets Guy Smith up. Inside run, Caffer's there.
No doubt about it. Just set that up coming out of the chicane up there. Carried that momentum down. Wow.
As there's Calvin Lee, the number 56, the leader in P2 is in. It's going to be Brian Willman taking over from Chris McMurray. Fueling has been done, and these guys have such a huge lead. They're just taking a really leisurely pace there. You see Brian, his arm's just out of the cockpit. You can reach both sides of the cockpit. Pretty tiny car when you got a big boy like him in there, but they're doing a great job. But out on track, Lee, I know there's some action.
There you see it. The Taurus Sport car goes around with Phil Andrews at the wheel. Keep watching to the right of your screen.
Oh.
Welcome back to the Mobil 1, 12 hours of Sebring and drama here for the Velox Audi Sport UK team. You just saw Johnny Herbert go behind the wall as race leader, and the sister car, Alan McNish, continues to go from strength to strength.
Take a look now. We saw it, Derek, on right-hand corners like this one, sweeping corner. Pouring oil over the top of the header or some kind of fluid is making it smoke quite badly.
Well, they believe it's coming from the gearbox, and normally for these Audi R8s, Derek, we've certainly seen them do that quick rear end change. The problem is now, this year it's not allowed. You're not allowed to change the gearbox casing, so to fix that car, they've taken it back to the paddock area.
So that means Martin Short, in about one more lap, will be running in second place.
And it gives Alan McNish a 7-lap lead, and I wonder right then, 6-lap lead.
6-lap lead.
I wonder why he just pulled that windscreen off and was trying to hand it to somebody. Nobody wanted it.
Oh, there is, wow. Rear wing's gone.
Everything. Whole rear body.
And that really got Brian Willman's attention. Understandably, they have a huge lead in the P2 class. We're under our 4th full course caution, and naturally it was because of the bodywork left scattered on the circuit from the Team Bucknam Racing Pilbeam.
Well, the 63 is still in pit lane. Johnny Mullen has been sitting in the car the entire time. They've been here for quite a while now. Now, what happened with this car is a rock punctured the axle boot on the left rear corner, and that caused that axle to seize up once all the grease leaked out of there.
And with those guys still stationary in pit lane, this car, yes, the Danny Sullivan car, the Baron Connor Racing 575 Ferrari, the GTC, moves into second in the GTS class. I have to update you that the 22, the Rollcentre Racing Dallara Judd, has received a penalty for the pit supervisor working on the car. That's not allowed. We go back to green, and McNish already right from the get-go pounces.
And as you can see on these restarts, it's still a huge traffic jam as number 22 comes in to serve a penalty.
So the order is McNish and Lato. Yes, JJ Lato in the ADT champion Audi has moved up to second. because of the ongoing hassles with Johnny Herbert and the second Velox Audi Sport UK car. However, there is a 7-lap margin between McNish and Leto.
Oh, a big accident here. The Viper is nosed into the tire wall, quite deeply into the tire wall.
And that obviously gives us a full course yellow immediately. That is a dramatic looking accident, completely buried under those tires.
Well, good news down here for the P2 leader. They have managed to get that pill being put back together. Jeff Bucknam now behind the wheel. They're sitting here. The car is healthy, but the pit lane is closed, so consequently they're not allowed to service the car.
Well, the 10 is trying to make up some time right now in the P2 category on the leader. However, the team is still having transmission problems. They've been trying to tighten up that shifter most of the afternoon, but now it looks like they're having internal problems. So when they're downshifting, the car is actually upshifting, so it makes it really uncomfortable. They don't think they can fix it right now, so they're just going to have to deal with it for the next 6 hours.
This just looks ugly.
It looks very ugly as the right rear cuts down. We don't know if it's just a tire puncture. We know that it's flat, but we don't know what caused it to go flat. Of course, this car just came in for a new wing, a complete rear body section. Possibly it had a cut tire from debris from that.
John, we're hearing that the 56 is now done, so you guys are going to be able to make up some time here and take over the lead in P2, but you guys have a sick car too. Are you going to be able to nurse it to the end?
If the river doesn't rise any higher, we will, yeah. And we're going to keep the two hot shoes going and work them, make them earn their money this weekend.
Watch them split this Porsche. They come around. It's 17A that they're in. Wow, watch right here now. Watch. Oh! The two get together. That's McNish and J.J. Lato making contact in what is a really dangerous part of the racetrack. So they're getting after it. Look at Lato goes around. Now McNish is going to come together right there under the bridge. Bam!
Champion cars on the outside. Oh, look at this. He said, use your head, JJ.
Yeah, well, for us, we had only the lead to lose. For JJ, he didn't have very much to lose. Well, he's obviously in second, but he's 6 laps down, so anything was going to be an advantage to him. Basically, a back marker, you know, was there. I went one side, he went the other. We both wanted the same piece of track.
Mike Borkowski is leading now in the Prototype 2 category. It is a little bit of a lame duck. They are happy that they can potentially win this in reliability. Chris?
The transmission problems look like they've stabilized, but now they look like they're having a problem with the left rear. They can't get that tire off, so they were taking a look at that, trying to figure out what they need to do here in the future, because obviously they can't run. How many more hours do we have? Another 5 hours with that left rear on.
Yellow all round the circuit. For I think now this is the 5th or 6th full course caution of this race. George Bourgeois in the 33 Intersport Banana Joe's car. He spun, just could not get going.
Well, in GT, we had a lot of action down here. We first saw the 35 come into pit lane. Ralph Kellender's handed over the car to Anthony Lazzaro. It seemed like a smooth stop until Anthony tried to refire the car. The car did not fire.
Lucas can break Bob's record of 4 consecutive class wins right here tonight.
Lucas, you're trying to do something that nobody's ever done before, and that's win Sebring 5 times. However, right now, you guys are caught out on a couple yellows, so you're down a couple laps. Is there anything you can do to try and catch up with the sister car?
No, there's nothing. I think for us, the race is lost already because we are 1 lap behind. We were really strong and leading most of the time when we catched up because we had to start from the back. But then on the last safety car period, we both came in for a pit stop. Our crew took a little bit longer and we went back out behind the sister car. And unfortunately, the overall leader got between us, so that's how we lost the lap.
But the 3 car just came in, looked like a routine stop. Johnny O'Connell, you just got out of it. The question is, I mean, obviously you guys have a great lead right now, but how do you keep the concentration up when you don't have someone breathing down your neck?
It's really tough. I mean, the hardest thing is you just try to, you know, use the same shift points, you know, have a couple visual things that you're looking for, but, you know, actually it'd be a whole lot easier if someone was pushing us real hard.
It looks like a Porsche from here, and it is nestled right up against those concrete barriers. We go under our 7th full course caution, and yes, you guessed it, it is because of this, although you can't really see it.
Here he is. Look, he's right out wide, gets out in the dirt, straight round. Good gracious. And then we lose him.
The green flag flies again. here in the dark at Sebring. And Frank Bieler continues to lead this field and lead well to the tune of 5 laps over the ADT champion Audi of Marco Werner, and João Barbosa holding off a very persistent Johnny Herbert. And there's a bit of a scramble down there in the Rollcentre pit, Brian. They didn't look ready.
Absolutely, they were not ready, Lee. I think it surprised everyone. You saw the tire guy, the left front tire guy, jump off the wall with a tire in his hand.
There's the 22. It's back out on track at the hands of João Barbosa. We said that Johnny Herbert was catching and that lengthy pit stop would help him. Well, now Herbert has passed him, and Johnny Herbert sits 3rd overall, 3rd in P1, and now this car is slowing dramatically. That's got nothing to do with that rear wing end plate.
Dorsey, he has no power, and it's not because the engine has expired, it's because the throttle has expired for some reason. As sophisticated as they are, it truly is just a piece of metal that has kept this car from running. The throttle cable, the linkage back where it goes into the injection system, as it wraps around and opens the butterflies, that piece of wire cable has broken.
Problems continue for the 37. Duncan Dayton in the car, still in the car.
A lot of smoke. He's got an oil line off or something. You see it catch fire off the exhaust.
Is that real?
No,
the rear left's down.
Yeah,
the rear
left
left's down
suspension's
again.
either broken or punctured.
Remember last time it came in, it was
Yeah, sure was. It was on fire there for a while, whatever, so it's got to have some oil or something.
Let's get down to the pits and hear more about our P2 class leading car.
Well, John Macaluso has brought the leading car in, Lee, and they're just going to park it for a while. John says the lights aren't very good. That left rear tyre is really causing handling problems, as you'd imagine. Over 5 hours on that left rear Pirelli, and the car is not hanging in there anymore. They don't want to wreck the car. They want to see the checkered flag this evening. So we anticipate this car will sit here until about the last 5 minutes, and they'll hopefully crank it back up, get John out there and take it across the line. They have a big enough lead now. They can sit on it.
They know what the winning feeling is like. It will be the 5th consecutive year that an Audi R8 has won the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring. A stunning performance. The Ullman Straight for the final time. The other thing to remember, while Alan McNish is a superstar in sports car racing, he has yet to clinch the Sebring 12-hour. He will do it right here, right now. The awesome threesome of the young Pierre Caffa, Alan McNish and Frank Bieler win the Mobil 1 Sebring 12-hour. There's Max Pappas. He was a pole sitter in '96. He's never won at Sebring, and he'll get a class victory here as well, along with Ron Fellows. 3 times in a row for Johnny O. Ron Fellows.
The winner of our GT class takes the checkered flag, driven by Sasha Masson.
And that's 4 consecutive class victories for Sasha. He equals the great Bob Holbert, Pierre Caffa, the new boy to the ALMS, Frank Bieler and McNish. He left a winner, he returns a winner.
Oh, what a day for this Audi UK team, and Alan McNish, what a way to return. You certainly shook the race rust off today.
No, it was a fantastic way to return to Audi. The last time I was here, I managed to go out in a victory and managed to come back in one, but this was the one race in sports car racing I hadn't actually won.
Well, you know, in baseball, you got starting pitchers and you also have closers. Johnny O, you're the closer, buddy.
Well, you know what? Any one of us could have been closers. I mean, Max, you know, this is our first race, his first race with us. He did an amazing job. Of course, my good buddy Ron, man, you can always count on him. But really, you know, this win is all about Chevrolet, Corvette, CompuWare, all the people that are behind us. But you don't win if you don't have Pratt & Miller building your race cars.
John, we've talked a lot about the trials and tribulations you guys have gone through today. Now we can talk about the triumph. You've been here 6 times. This is your first win. Also, your first time as a team owner. It's got to feel pretty good.
Oh, God, you don't know how good it feels. You know, all I can tell you, it's a miracle. It's a mid-Florida miracle here in mid-Florida. You know what I mean? It is sensational. There's a tire on the back of this car that's got 5 hours on it, a Pirelli tire. It's just unbelievable. And these guys limped it home. We're here. Who'd have thunk it?
We revisit the GT results, and Masson, Bergmeister, Bernard. The sick Jorg Bergmeister did not drive today, but Bernard and Masson, what a job they did, ahead of Luer, Dumas and Lieb.
Sasha, how difficult was it for you to run this race without your regular teammate Lucas?
Well, first of all, I had to beat him to get this 4th victory, and he tried his best as well to achieve his 5th victory. But I think he has to wait until next year, and then we drive back together, and then we can win together for the 5th time. That's okay. I think that would be fair.